Hello guys, how are you doing? So today we go over the best settings in League of Legends. Just keep that in mind that this is my personal preference and this is what I keep using, let's say, even in these days, okay? So let's get to the video and have a nice watch. So yeah, when it comes to the setting, we are gonna take a while because there are a lot of, tabs, so we're gonna like separate them through tabs, right? So we're gonna talk about the hotkeys first, then the video, the sound interface, and then eventually the game tab. Starting with hotkeys, okay? So when you play and you first play out as a new league player, you have this tab, which is like, pretty simple. You have all your key bindings that you can decide, and you have the quick cast all and the normal cast, right? So the most important thing about quick cast all and normal cast is that if you have a spell, so in this case I'm gonna like take some spells, and I am with quick cast, what happens is you're just gonna throw it right away. This is especially good in such games because League tends to be really fast paced, okay? So you eventually want to swap out to quick cast when you're used to the range of the champion, right? So when I know how far, the Ezreal Q reaches, I can actually decide to go for quick cast, right? Instead we have normal cast. Normal cast basically, shows the range, and then I am pressing the key right now. When I just confirm with left click, the spell will just go, right? As you can understand, the difference is quite simple. We have the delay of the keyboard in only one instance, which is the quick cast, but instead, when we're gonna use two buttons, there's gonna be the keyboard and then also the left click of the mouse. So, of course, your gameplay will be slowed up a lot by doing that. But keep that in mind, it is a good solution for new players to actually do that, okay? So, normal cast, quick cast, pretty important. If you don't want to drop like the normal cast, you can actually do this, which is a tiny thing that I do to other players as well. Basically, you can put your spells on control plus the spell that you want to place. Example, if you have spell 1, and you can put it here down, abilities and summoner spells, you're going to put on set 2, control Q for example, now we're going to press OK, and even if I have quick cast right now, you can see it, I'm actually just using the spell without having the range. If I use Ctrl Q, the range will pop off. So in case that I really want to aim properly, there's also this solution. It's surely a bit hard, especially with people that have like tiny hands, because I actually coached people and they said, oh, my hand is really tiny. Mine is really, like, it's kind of big. So I can actually do it properly. If you're not able to, that's kind of fine. But keep that in mind. You have these options, so you can keep quick cast and eventually the normal cast on the control plus spell that you want to use, okay? So, aside from that, here we have a lot of options. We're gonna go to the most important ones. There are something like, you open shop with P, but nothing important, I will say. Like, those are not really important settings. The one that we're gonna talk about, it's mostly ADC reliant, but it kinda helps out every champion in the game, is the player attack move. So, when it comes to League, in this setting, player movement, you have player move click, player attack move click, player attack only click, and then hold and stop. Those are pretty much the ones that are important for us. There are others, of course, but we're gonna generalize a bit. So, the right click, of course, is to move. We have it here. And then we have attack move click and attack only click. Okay, so the difference is with attack move click, I just press A, and you see it goes on the ground, and when I hit, it just hits the nearest target to the cursor, okay? You can change that by going into game. We're gonna see it afterwards. I don't want to make confusion, so just keep in mind that this is the setting, right? Like, you're gonna attack the nearest target to your cursor by just pressing on the ground. Why is this useful? Well, when you wanna hit someone, maybe you try to drag your cursor to them, but maybe, you're not used to play to the PC, your mouse is really slow, you're not used in general, and so you aim badly, and tack, instead of like moving and hitting him, you're just moving forward to him. So this is one of the most common mistakes that I see in low elo. Try to step out of it by taking attack move, right? Again, we have the quick cast one, which is the attack move with quick cast, and the normal cast attack move. Everything can be recasted twice, let's say. So the player attack only click is not really important, as we can see. Like, it's not something that you really care about. It means basically that you have to press A and click on the guy directly, but it's not important. We have attack move. Attack move basically shows up this. If you have some problems and you don't see this, basically on interface, you have show attack range. If you take it off, it won't show, you see? So, depending on you, if you like it or not, you can just take it off by doing that. And here we are. So, with attack move, you have to make the confirmation. That's the difference, okay? just like normal cast, you have to confirm with your left click. Again, if you don't have fast hands, I highly discourage this kind of gameplay, even if like a lot of pros, if you probably ever watched some streams, they do that. It's actually way better to keep in mind and remind your range, and so it actually helps out a lot if you're able to be this fast at playing the game, because you again, you have a really good idea of what's your range. But in theory, it is really hard mechanically. So if you're still starting out, just you know, don't do that, because it's gonna be like a left click for every auto, and especially champions like Twitch, Jinx, they tend to hit a lot, and so you wouldn't keep up with the spells in the meanwhile, let's say, okay? So hope that's clear. So I'm gonna keep it here now, and we just keep it going. So we have camera controls, not really anything to change here. Display, nothing to change. Communication. So in communication, if you haven't already, you should have enemy vision ping, and I put it on H personally. I don't remember if it's actually like a feature at starting, but I really like it to have it on the H. Basically with G, you just take the wheel, and then you can set the pings, as you can see. Like here, 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 okay? But with H, you just press it and you have it on quickest, right? Like, this is pretty good to explain where the wards are, if it's warded. I don't know if you know it, but they changed the league in a way where if I place a ward, like if I would place a ward here, for example, and I just ping it, I will take the gold. It's 5 gold only, but it's not bad if you kind of sum up every gold that you take, right? So imagine I spotted 10 wards through the game, that's 50 gold. That's actually not bad. So by pressing H right away, you're able to catch it first. When you play ADC, this is actually a really good feature, and you should try to get used to that. Also because you can spot the wards. Spotting wards equals having vision, okay? So yeah, that is the only thing I will change. There are other things again for specific champions. We're not gonna go into that. But yeah, we finished with the hotkeys. So gonna go with the next arguments, okay? So there we are. We go to the video tab. There's a lot of research on this, and I'm gonna explain you my reasonings. As you can see, like, I'm playing on a standard monitor, not like 4K monitor, big size, whatever it is, like standard monitor. I have placed colorblind mode. Colorblind mode is kind of useful for me, also because I'm literally colorblind, so I actually put it also for this reason. But in reality, I mean, there are a lot of different type of color blindness, let's say, and the one that uses League, it's not really taking all the chromatic aspects, let's say. So it's not really for the aspect of like what you see and the colors that you see. It's most likely because some spells, stuff like that, like even Nidalee Qs, with certain spells, they are really, really hard to see. And colorblind mode actually helps you out a bit too. Like, it kind of reshapes them, and you can see them a bit better. Especially like trap placed under the ground, Caitlyn W. I had a really easier time watching those spells with colorblind, and so it is a feature that you should at least try out. That doesn't mean that you have to keep it, but see if it actually clicks, right? Like, try 1 month with it, something like that. It could actually help out a bit, like understanding the clarity of the spells. High Day Candy, that's for sure like something that you want to decide if you want or not. It's nothing important. It kind of disables some effects. I feel like anything that is not important towards the game, it's not really helping you out. So if you take off all the effects about ambience and stuff like that, actually helps to be a bit more, have more clarity, let's say, toward the game. So we use relative team colors, because else like you confuse yourself a lot towards the red and blue side. Like, when you are blue side, then it becomes red, and when you're red, then it becomes blue. I go fucking crazy with this, so just keep it up and never change it, okay? Screen shake, I never understood this feature, honestly. Like, I put it, you know, what's the funny thing about the screen shake is, I put it, I take it off, I press OK, and the next league game, this feature just goes on again. So I'm not really even sure about what this does, honestly, and I'm doing a video about it. So if you know it, just write it on the comments, I guess. That would be kind of funny to know. Aside from that, window mods. So that is really important, guys, and I want you to know that. So we have 3 options, which is window wed, borderless, and full screen. And I want to be transparent with you. The best way to play is always full screen, okay? Full screen has the least delay among all the other things. So keep that in mind when you want to play League. If you're able to play full screen, you're not streaming, you don't have to watch another monitor. Like, in general, this has way less delay compared to borderless and window wed. Delay is something that is basically on the PC, let's say, when you're not playing on full screen. The way the PC works is that once you are in full screen, let's say the processors, everything is just working towards what's on the full screen, okay? And so it gets more resources, and so the responses is faster, okay? This happens, like, sometimes it actually works well. Like, you can play window wed on some PCs and it's actually working fine, or even borderless, but keep in mind the way that, like, your operative system works. it just helps full screen a lot. And I tend to notice that a lot, like the kind of delay that you have when you play with borderless or windowed. If you have a good PC, you read less. If you have a bad PC, trust me, playing full screen actually does make a huge difference, especially with low FPS. So again, if you're not streaming, and if you want to focus a lot towards your game, full screen is the best one, especially when you play skill shot champions, okay? So, we go to the settings here. I have a really high-end PC, but I'm not really a fan of like insane high quality stuff, so I tend to keep everything medium and I take shadow off, because when you want to aim with skill shots, the shadow just confuses me a bit. So, that's just me. If you want to keep them, keep them. No one is actually forcing you to keep them, okay? So, up to you in this regard, right? If you're feeling fine with that or not. My frame rate is 144 because my screen, you know, my hertz is 144, so nothing insane. I don't play with vertical sync, of course. Vertical sync basically forces your PC to play at 60 FPS, you know, and as I have 144, I don't need that. If you have a low-end PC, you could try vertical sync. It could kind of help you out a bit, but generally speaking, vertical sync does add a delay, just like borderless. So you simply want to try it out and understand if it's actually the thing for you. And the aliasing, you can take it, you can put it, you can... it's kind of whatever, honestly. Like, I tried both with and without it. It actually doesn't make much of a difference. So it's personal preference, I will say. Then here we have the colors. Of course, like, you can change everything off the colors, but it is completely up to you. It won't change much the game unless you go, like, with so many players that I saw, they go like 100 gamma and it's so fucking white for whatever reason. I mean, it does help a lot with the clarity, but careful with your eyes, guys, because you have only 2 eyes, and you know, if you fuck them up, you can't reput them. So when I see this, I'm like, oh, in 1 year they will be fucking blind, right? So be careful, okay? Like, that's the most important thing, is safety. Let's go to the next one, which is sound. I'm going fast, right? Like, I hope this video is gonna be helpful for a lot of people. That's a lot of knowledge, like, that I had to gather around the years, honestly. So if you're enjoying this content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I tend to not do such videos because they take me up a lot of time, but, you know, leaking this out is hopefully something that you're gonna enjoy a lot, guys. And let's keep it going. Master volume. So I kind of have a rule here on the sound, right? And I don't play with headphones since a lot, because my my ears were painful, like they were really bad, and so I just decided to play with like the stereo, the stereo audio, which is a bit better for me, but of course there's less focus. Let's say, like, if the audio goes directly to your ears, you can hear a bit better sounds, like a Cledult, like, I mean, in general, Global Ultimate, grabs, I mean, usually the game is centered around effects that are called FX, right? So those effects are the rumors of the spells and such like that. So pretty important to, if you can, to have a good headset. This actually does make a huge difference if you're willing to compete at really high level. If you're not, just play with your stereo, that's actually really fine. So, as we said, we have master volume. Master volume is the all volumes. Like, you increase all volumes if you have them, okay? I usually keep it not high, halfway low, right? Then you can decide based on everything else. So, you don't have to put this high. You keep it low and then you decide everything else by increasing it, let's say. Music volume, so I actually take it off. Music volume is really distracting me. Like, it's really bad if you are, again, aiming for a really agilo, because you tend to hear the music and everything is kind of distracting yourself. It's not needed, so just take it off, unless you're playing Sona. Sona is so nice, especially with DJ. Every time there's DJ Sona, I say, oh fuck, let me take music off, I want to hear it again, right? Because it's such a nice skin, even right now after so many years, let's say. Announcer volume, it's good. There was a study where people said that if they had announcer volume lower, they will play better. You know why? Because if your team was like trolling hard, you wouldn't really pay attention to the fact that you were losing hard. And so you were more focused towards your game, your lane. But at the same time, it's like some kind of a double-edged sword. Because if you're going really behind, etc. and everything, and you don't really notice that, you could lose out a lot of informations, and you could lose out on team fights because you simply didn't pay attention to them, and you didn't really know what's the game state, okay? So I would rather learn to approach bad situations and keep my mental, rather than just pretend that they are not there, right? So keep it at a decent volume and make sure that you can hear them, okay? Voice volume. This is a personal preference. Some ults and some things in the game actually have voice, so they could help you out. Like Zeri ult, for example, that just screams, "I am lightning," right? Something like that. It's up to you, because voice also stands on the when you walk with your champion, so you can hear a lot of lines of your champion, and maybe sometimes it becomes boring, especially with some champions that they just talk so much. Like when I play Yash, for example, and I'm walking, the Yash just says, "Oh, you know, like she talks for one fucking year." It literally has one line that is like 3 phrases of stuff. So in this case, I wouldn't keep it high, because it's really, it's kind of a torture, let's say. So yeah, that is this thing. Sound FX is the most important, as we said. There are a lot of like effects, stuff like that, and you kind of want to have it high. I mean, high in the middle. It's a pretty good information. Ambience volume, take it off again. It's like those kind of, you know, the wind. You hear the wind. You hear the flowers growing. All this kind of stuff. It's not useful. Like if you wanna compete, I just will say take it off. It's not something that will say, oh my god, I'm gonna improve because of ambience volume, right? It's not important. So ping volume, that's the important one. So you wanna put it at least to 80. Sorry. What to say? Pings are like the soul of the game, right? So if someone is spam pinging you, you just block him, okay? Like you block his pings, but you want to have them high. So if anything happens, you're actually able to reply like as fast as possible, right? Okay, we go to interface. I'm actually speedrunning this video, kind of, hopefully. So yeah, HUD scale based on your monitor, you decide, but don't keep it too high, because else, you know, it's really hard. Like in general, you have like your screen, and you want to have it not really big, because else you couldn't even like click like backwards or downwards, right? That would be really unbeneficial to you to have like big bar, okay? The most important thing is that you manage to see the cooldowns of your spells. So if you can't really see the cooldowns of your spell, increase it a bit, because you want to know when you have your spells, pretty much, no? Like if you miss 1 second to your flash, to your heal, this can change a fight if you know it, okay? So you have to know the information. You know the information through the HUD, and you want to just see the information. Don't think about everyone else saying, oh, you have to put it here, and here. Just what's comfortable to you, right? That is why we call it interface, and you want to decide based on that. But again, just be careful on not putting it insanely big. Cursor scale, I put it in the middle. It feels kind of fine. Again, if you have another monitor, you could put it to 100, and maybe it's even tiny. So it's really, again, based on your monitor, and shop scale based on your monitor, chat scale based on your monitor. Minimap is the most important one, okay? So the default size of League of Legends minimap before the patch, like where you could change the minimap scale, was 33. So the one that you see here, okay? If there was no patch, you couldn't put it to 100, let's say. So you can increase it now, but back in the time, you could only put it to 33. I am used to 33, which is the normal size of the map, 1-on-1 of the old League of Legends. If you want to put it higher, you can do that. Just be careful about the next tip that I'm gonna share you in a few seconds, okay? Just keep that in mind and hold it for a second, okay? Everything else is really fine. And we go to health and resource bars. So we show L bars, of course, because playing without L bars will be kind of bad, right? You don't see the bars. Show loss of control. This is really important. Make sure to have it on. Basically, if your champion gets a control, you can see how much time you need before you can actually move back again. And so this is really good for both understanding when you can use your spells back again, or how much you can chain your controls against an enemy. Like, you know, example, there's a trash grabbing, the guy grabs, and then afterwards you're gonna ult with Varus. That's gonna be like a CC, where you wait the grab of trash, then you go with the ultimate of Varus, and you can chain them perfectly so that the enemy can't really reply to that with this feature, which is really nice, and you should have it. Those are all animations. Again, I don't put them. They kind of distract you as a thing, so I wouldn't put them. And then we have show names above L-bar. So this is especially good if you are first starting out, and you don't really know League or anything else. So in general, this is my name, and you can put your name. This is good when you play with your friends. Why? Because if you are playing with your friends and, you know, you're a bit of a tilty guy, that's kind of fine. I am also a tilting guy, and that's what I'm explaining you. Because if you play with your friends, and like your friends does a really shit play, and you're like, oh, look at this guy, right? Maybe you don't remember that you're playing with your friends, but if you have the names, maybe you kinda remember that, and so you try to keep yourself off instead of flaming him, right? That is more of like a human thing. And so seeing the names is actually quite good. Instead, in Aigilo, if you're playing against really good players, you don't want to see their name. Because you are, let's say, changing your habits and changing how you play based on who you're playing against. You're like, oh, I'm playing against Faker, for example, right? And you're like, oh no, I'm playing worse because I have the pressure of playing against such player, right? Double-edged sword here, again. And then we have champion name. Champion name is really good for people that are starting out League of Legends. Because if you're playing on a lane and you see the enemy champion and the name of the champion, you can redirect the spells that he is using to the name of the champion. There are a lot of champions in League of Legends. They are playing a lot in low elo, less in high elo. So if you're starting out, it's really good to have the knowledge of all the champions that you're meeting against, so that then, by knowing them, you can climb up, and eventually you don't need this feature anymore. Once you are, let's say, on a certain level, and you're like, okay, I know the champions, I know, I'm not playing with my friends, I'm just ranking up, you just take it off. Notifications, I will keep everything on. This is just some really good things, like for example, when they hit you and you're not on the camera. Just an example, now we will show you now. When I teleport to the tower and the tower hits me, and I am here, for example, you will see the screen becoming red, right? And eventually, you can just press a space back to your champion so that you're able to, react faster. If you don't have this feature, it's really hard, because maybe you're getting it, but you don't realize it, right? Nowadays, it's really hard to notice anyways. Back in the time, it was a bit more marked, let's say, as a thing, like you could see it better. But anyways, this is really important to keep. Legacy cursor, so you can put the old cursor of League of Legends, which is like a this thing. You can keep it if you want, or but I'm saying, like, I really love the old one, but it feels this one feels a bit more it's a bit more understandable where I'm clicking, right? Because it's literally pointing to the points. But this one, I'm not sure. Like, it's just different for me. Okay, maybe I have problems. Okay, that's just me. So, ability and attack display, I'll just keep them on. The most important thing is show spell cost. You want to see how much mana you use with each spell, so you know if you can do a specific combo or not. So you can count in your head before doing the play. Spell recommendation, you can take it off if you already know League. Disable HUD spell click. This is basically avoiding you to, using the spells through the HUD bar. So maybe if you click as a mistake, you're not able to use them. Pretty good feature, by the way. Time still display shows, when you use the quick cast like this line. Ability cooldown display, I do seconds, because, when I put minutes, I'm like, okay, I will have the ult in 1 minute and a half. That is not really, like, I have to do the conversion in my head. I'm like, okay, wait, 1 minute and a half is 60, 1 minute is 60, then plus 30, 19 seconds. Keep it short, keep it simple, 19 seconds, and, it's easier. Because all these things, when you play, they tend to sum up, and you want to keep focus for something else rather than understanding the cooldowns. So that's the most important thing, in my opinion, when we were talking about the minimap, you remember, guys? Minimap movement is the worst feature that you can have. So when you have allow minimap movement, basically, you can click on the map randomly by mistake. So if I click here, look at this, right? My mouse is on the map, and now I will click towards here. Like, let's suppose I want to go outside, but mistakenly, I click on the map, right? You see? Boop. And now I'm puffing all the way towards topside because I just clicked on the map as a mistake. This happens a lot on teamfights. And so you can take it off by simply taking off minimap movement. Be careful. The only thing that you want to keep in mind is that if you do this, then to get back to the lane, you can click on the minimap. Okay? So you can right click straight to the map. You have to left click on the map, right click on the point where you want to go. I think it's a bit hard at first. I had problems as well, but you get used to that pretty quickly if you already have some bases, okay? So this is pretty much it for the interface. You don't want to change anything else. And we're gonna go to the next one, which is game. Game is pretty simple. So you put your mouse speed to 50. There's not much to say in reality. We have some lock mods. So when it comes to the camera, because now I'm playing with what we call free camera. You see, I'm moving my cursor, and with moving my cursor, I can move my camera. But that is not really binded to the champion. So if my camera is bound to the champion, it will look something like this. Okay? Champion is always on the center, and I will walk with the camera. Based on what you want, you can actually change this lock mode to put it in a certain way. So for example, fixed and semi. Now, we're not gonna go too deep on that, but simply, they are a bit different with each other. Per side means that the camera is a bit more towards the side that you are on. Fixed is literally on the center, you see? More centered. Semi-locked, you basically can move it even if you have locked. I personally enjoy a lot per side. It feels a bit more consistent rather than fixed, because if you're playing downside, it feels bad. If you're playing on the upside, it feels good, let's say. So it really depends on the side. I am not playing with the camera, you know, the locked camera. But if you do, just keep in mind, I think per side is objectively better. You can try it out. You can put, by the way, the camera, so the locked camera, by pressing here on the down right. Just lock it like this, and then you eventually can just reclick it to take it off. Okay, always in the UHD helps a bit more, let's say. On the gameplay, the most important thing is that we take auto attack off, especially as ADC, because if you take auto attack and you just stay here, you're just gonna start hitting without even, you know, using my hands. You see? Like, 0 hands. And so, this is bad because we wanna time our autos, our spells, chain them. Putting auto attack just makes it really bad to make all your combos, and so we wanna go slowly away out of this feature and just never use it ever again. There are some genres that play with auto attack, honestly, to do the camps, because they are, you know, they're like, oh, I don't wanna play, I don't wanna hit all the camps and such, but it's not really a good feature, honestly. But if you wanna like use it in jungle, at least you have the option to do so. I personally don't enjoy it. Movement prediction. So movement prediction basically works in a way where the server, you have the server, which, you know, it's the Riot server, and the informations are going to the Riot server. You're trying to match the MS and the server ratio at which the League of Legends is playing. So let's make an example, okay? If you have 100 ping and Riot server is going at 1 MS, okay? Like it's going at 1 MS, your connection will try to match what the Riot server sees. So there could be a lot of problems because of that, unless you have 1 ping. Because if you have 1 ping, it doesn't really change anything. If you have 100, you can see a lot of like a discrepancy, because the game tries to reflect exactly what's happening at the same exact second. But if you have a lot of ping, or like your connection is not really stable, you're gonna see double spells, you're gonna see everything that you can see, let's say. It is really bad, especially as ADC, because when you kite, there's a tiny delay in between each auto. So keep in mind, if you don't have like a low ping and you're playing from Germany, stuff like that, because Germany has really low ping as a region, just take it off. Attack move on cursor. So as we said, and you know, we talked about the attack move, which is this one. If you don't have it on, what happens here? Well, we have 2 dummies here, right? So if I attack move here, I'm gonna attack the nearest one, which is the one in the front. If I attack move here, I'm gonna attack the nearest one here, which is the second one, okay? If I take off this feature, attack move on cursor, it will attack the nearest one to your champion. So as you can see, I'm clicking near this guy, but sadly, because I have this feature on, I will hit the nearest thing. Why is this bad? Well, let's suppose we are in lane, and I wanted to hit this enemy, right? But I click here. You see? I'm gonna hit my farm, which is probably really bad, especially in the laning phase, and later on in the team fights. We don't really want this feature, we're gonna go for attack move on cursor. We are the ones to decide who to hit and when. Aside from that, display recommended jungle path, you know, some things that can help you out during the game. This is more for jungle and such. You know, you can take all of this out if you already know the game. If you don't know it, it could be useful, especially if you play jungle. But yeah, that is pretty much it. There are a few things as well that I could feature a bit better, but I tried to keep it as short as possible. I think 30 minutes is actually quite good, honestly. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and make sure to leave a like or subscribe if you're liking this type of content. See you again. Bye.